XOXO, got the girl. Pose. Good morrow and merry meet. My name is Audra and you are in for a treat. Now, if you saw my latest new makeup nonsense bingo, then you would know I lost a lot of videos. And instead of refilming a lot of those things, because they're just gone, they're in the ether, they have left me behind. One of the things I love talking about is media and its effect on our lives. And today, for another music, makeup, and memories, I am going to be talking about a soundtrack that had a grip on my generation. And that soundtrack is, I feel like, was it 1996? 1996's Romeo and Juliet. Juliet, I'm sorry. Why am I like this?
For I never saw true beauty till this night.
You know what? I was right. It was 1996. I'm so proud of myself. 1996 is Romeo and Juliet. This is a movie by Baz Luhrmann, who also had a grip on us for a period of time. Best movie he made was Strictly Ballroom, honestly. Romeo and Juliet's okay, but like Strictly Ballroom was great. The thing about Baz Luhrmann that was phenomenal and fantastic was that he had a way of making things into musicals, and we just like didn't know it was a musical. You know what I mean? Except for Moulin Rouge, which is fully a musical. I am not fooled. You cannot trick me. But he had this way of like making, like putting music in a movie, but like not making it feel like, oh my god, it's a musical. Because that shit was like, if you don't know, I don't like musicals. I like music, but I don't like musicals. And so, because it just, even though I sing randomly, you know, I'm aware that I am a neurodivergent person, and that's where it comes from. I've begun to realize it's actually one of my stems and tics, so like, yay for me and realization. But I just don't find that that's realistic, and it bothers me, and it always takes me out of the movie. Like, there they are, wandering around, you know, and and then they're just singing, and like that always, I'm always just like, excuse me, what just happened here? You know what I mean? You're watching the movie, everything's good, and then they start singing. Anyways, we're not here about how much I despise musicals. We're actually here to talk about that soundtrack. That soundtrack was such a big fucking deal because everyone who was anyone in like the 90s kind of like grunge scene was on there, and it was like a mixture. It was very rare that we got a soundtrack like that. Sorry, I had to get everything prepped because I don't prep properly for this shit because apparently I'm a moron. But it was very rare that we got a soundtrack like that because of the fact that like most soundtracks very much had like one theme, you know what I mean? It was like either it's rock music or it's metal music or it's R&B, and we got a little bit of everything in this soundtrack, and we just were not prepared for that. The girlies lost their minds, myself included, but this soundtrack had us rolling. Side note, everything on my face will in fact be in the description box below, which affiliate links, money me, make, put into channel. Moving on. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get ready because I have nothing to do. I'm really trying to have any kind of, I'm trying to use this Rare Beauty palette here, and we're gonna see what happens here. I think I might mix it with something and do that. Let's go. I have changed my mind. I'm gonna use this Do Not Disturb palette, and I think I'm just gonna go ahead and declutter this because I just can't find any joy in it. I'm sorry. I look at it and I get sadness. Leave me alone. It's my life, and I am gonna live it how I want to. Now, the first song on this soundtrack, y'all, this shit tore us up. Ooh, ah. The sexy noises, y'all, come on. You know exactly what I'm about to say. Garbage and their #1 crush. Shirley was like everything.
I would die for you.
And this song still hits today.
I would die for you.
#1 crush still hits today because it's very, like, it's just like this very, like, dark, desperate love song. I need to wash my brushes, so I'm making do with what I got. So don't come for me. And it's like the chorus that really starts messing us up. And then this sound, hold on, the that shit. That really, like, that sound in and of itself. The arrangement of the song was good. Also, the driving beat on this was like enough to destroy most of us. We were like, it hit. And I feel like 16-year-old me was like sexy dancing. Here it is. See your face every place that I walk in. You don't believe in me. So like that song just, and if you hear it today, now, you still pop your chest a little bit like, and especially, I would burn for you. Yes. Like, was young you just like writhing around on a floor for like no good reason? Possibly, but like it was the 90s. Everybody was writhing around on the floor. Let's be real. So like number one crush is what started us off on this journey. And it just like gets you in your feels. And it's just like the dirtiness of her saying like she'll crawl on her hands and knees until you see like, you're just like me. Yes. So that was just like, but we're not done. We're moving on. Now, y'all, this next jam, I need y'all to understand the grip that Art Alexakis had on me then, okay? I need to say this out loud because one, listen, did he look like a rodent? You're damn right he looked like a rodent. I don't like it if they don't look like rodents. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm gonna date a man, he needs to look like a rodent immediately, expeditiously. Because rodents are our friends. No, I'm just kidding. Am I? No. Anyways, the point is, I loved Art Alexakis. He's the lead singer of Everclear. I was convinced that I was going to be his black girlfriend that he was singing about in his song. I didn't realize that at the time. I feel like he was like 30-something, possibly 40-something. And I'm like 16, being like, I love you, Art Alexakis. Anyhow, Everclear was so hot right then. And this is still one of those songs that every time I hear it, I'm like, yeah, get it. You do that, Romeo.
Be what you wanna be.
Looks like you're running in place.
Do that stupid dance for me.
Now, we need to have a conversation about the stupid dance because I feel like at least one song on every Everclear song, like on every Everclear album, said something about a stupid dance. Like, doing a stupid dance for somebody. I don't know why. You know, I wasn't there for whatever Art was going through. But like he always had some line about doing a stupid dance. Anyways, it was just a funny thing for me that he would do that all the time.
Will you be my Romeo? My go-go Romeo.
Stupid was also one of his favorite words. He would like use stupid all the time. But this song made me feel like I was like the queen of alternative.
You look so stupid.
Feel just like a local guy when I'm with the boys.
We do what we want. Yes, we do what we want.
And this song, I feel like for sure, and I'm gonna probably go look this up and put it in post, but like, he for sure made this song specifically for this movie. Because like, why else would he be talking about Romeo? There was like literally no reason for him to talk about it. But like having Everclear and Garbage on the same soundtrack, bitch, get out of my face. Like, this is amazing. I'm gonna fuck shit up by throwing Blue into it. Listen. Yep. Nope, but I love it. I see you twist and turn.
You look so fucking stupid.
I feel just like a local guy when I'm with the boys. We do what we want. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with Everclear, so they have a song that is still played, and now it's like adult contemporary, which honestly does kind of hurt my feelings, and I'm going to try to let that go as I talk about it. But they had Santa Monica, which Is that a motherfucking mosquito bat on my eyebrow, or is that just my chunky face? We're gonna call it chunky face. But y'all see that shit? What the fuck? Anyways, but Santa Monica was just like, that was the song. And this was like the height of like the kind of grunge alternative movement where everybody was just like kind of depressed. I mean, we still are. That's why everybody who grew up in the 90s is like still just like, everything means nothing. But to have both of them on the soundtrack at the same time, bitch, what? Now this song, okay, there is, I cannot remember the name of the actor. But he was also in Oz, but he played Mercutio, I believe. And this was like this is why I say, you know, often that the 90s were like a little bit more free, I guess, than like, or progressive than we are now. Like we're behind now. Like, are there things that have changed now that are good? Yes. But I'm never gonna forget him wearing like this two-piece, and it was like a white leather pleather top with a light white leather pleather skirt. It looked phenomenal. And like this song came on and he was like doing his thing. What's the sense in sharing this one and only life? And I'm just like, when I watched this movie, it was just mind-blowing for like my sexuality. Like I was like, bitch. Ending up just another lost and lonely wife. Like I can be whatever I want. Like it was a vibe, it was a movement, it was a mood. They will be filled with tears. Feeling like an attraction to a person who, you know, wasn't doing like, I guess a man, but feeling attraction to a man who wasn't like deeply involved in the movie, obviously, in like traditional sexuality. Like I feel like it was just such a good time. And this song, like when you hear this song, it reminds me like of raving and like tripping balls. And it was just like, it was a whole mood. And it was just one of those things where you kind of could feel, you know what I mean? You could just feel like a person. And having a good time at like a good party, and you knew that they were doing drugs because he was actively doing them. Like it was a thing. There was this band, 1 Inch Punch, right? And Pretty Piece of Flesh is like, this is what started me down the road of like smack my bitch up, you know what I mean? Because it just had this like vibe. Like Pretty Piece of Flesh was just this song that like, I don't know why, but I felt very dirty whenever I listened to it. Please don't come for me. So we're gonna take a break from like Pretty Piece of Flesh, because that was like, you know, that's a very intense song. You have to be, you know, in the mood for it. And I want to talk about how this movie just catapulted Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio is his name. I'm so sorry. I don't like that man. I'm sorry. I don't like him. Because up until this point, like Claire Danes had been on My So-Called Life, which was very quickly canceled because, you know, the parents, what about our children? Those people came along and were like, we cannot deal with this. And we were like, y'all calm down. Like your kids are already like this. Like you getting rid of the show isn't changing that. Like the fuck? But anyway, she'd been on there when she was also there with the now cult leader. I can't remember Jared Leto. Yes, he is a cult leader. Go look it up. There's videos. And he proudly admits it. He is, in fact, a cult leader. I am not being mean. So, anyways, she had been on that show with him. He played Jordan Catalano. And, you know, because the 90s was this flat-faced white girl time. And I'm not actually making fun of them. There was a whole thing about like a blank canvas face in which she could literally be anyone, and you could put yourself in her place if you were like, honestly, this sounds weird, but no matter what race you were, you could put yourself in their place and like be the character, just because of the fact that they just didn't have any particular defining characteristics. They just had like this kind of flat face. Claire Danes, Julia Stiles, it was a whole thing of like them just like having kind of like this basic basic face that wasn't doing anything of interest. Not saying that they weren't pretty. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like there was this move to having actresses who were blank canvases. And so Claire Danes was one of them, and she was cast as, you know, Juliet, obviously. And then Leonardo DiCaprio plays, what's his face? Romeo. Look at me not remembering any of the males. So they're like cast as like the teenage love duo. And when I tell you, like, the whole world exploded, thought that they were going to be a couple. Turns out in real life, like, she did not like him. They were not friends. She did not have a good time kissing him. I do believe at this point in time, I don't know if he still does, but I feel like pretty much like he smoked at that time. And so it wasn't pleasant kissing him, which understood. So it wasn't pleasant for her to kiss him, and she just didn't reciprocate. Like everybody else had this, and even then, like I remember everybody had this hard on for Leo DiCaprio, and I just did not. Like I would look at him and I was just like, I don't know, like he looks slightly effeminate, which isn't a dig because I do like, but he didn't look effeminate enough for me. Does that make sense? Like it was like slightly there, but not enough for me to feel like, yes. So anyway, if Twitter had been around back then, listen, the world would have exploded. I really think it did, because it did at the time. Like them being in that movie together was too much for a lot of people, and there was a lot of screaming, a lot of like, and the worst part for I feel like Claire Danes was how much people were just like, oh my God, you got to be in a movie with Leo DiCaprio. Like, did you just love it? And she was like, no. But back into the soundtrack. And the reason I bring this up is because like that has a huge bearing on how we view the rest of the soundtrack. So moving on. Because the next song, when you hear the opening notes, this was by Desiree, and y'all, I believe she's British, but this song had every one of us 16-year-olds in our little bitty feels, just like and I was holding concerts. I literally was holding concerts in like my bathroom, in my room, anywhere that I could hold a concert. Watching stars without you, my soul grows. I tried so hard and I could not hit those notes. I still can't. But like I thought I was doing the most when I was singing this, and I was just like, look at me. I'm gonna be a new star. Like, I'm gonna audition with this song somewhere. But y'all, one of the reasons why this song is so iconic is because of the scenes of when they met. The fish tank, y'all know what I'm talking about. And then like all of a sudden fish tanks became highly sexual to all of us. You know what I'm talking about. We all just got like, where's a fish tank? I need to find my true love in a fish tank. It was just like, and I think the thing about this song is it's like both romantic and like doom feeling at the same time, because once you've seen the movie, you just like, it feels like doom, because you know that like it doesn't end well. You know what I mean? You know. My dolls were getting married to this song. I know. You're like 96, Audra. You were 16. Yeah, I know. I developed differently. Leave me alone. So this song had us like losing our little minds. Our little bodies were like out of control. We could not get ourselves together. And then when the piano part comes, the piano solo, Juliet! That brings up memories of like watching, like, oh gosh, I'm about to die here. Give me a second. Because if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, Romeo and Juliet die. If you haven't seen it, the thing that was really different about this movie and how he made it, there is a fucking mosquito in here that's been eating the fuck out of me, but we're gonna move on. The spoiler alert here is that this Romeo and Juliet was tragic as fuck. I know, the story itself is, but this movie was the absolute worst because of the fact that in the other adaptations, Juliet's already dead, like fake dead, and then Romeo's dead when she wakes up and she's like, oh no. But in this one, she like wakes up just as he's like taking the, oh my God, it was horrific. It was horrific. Like, I think that was one of the first times I feel like in a long time that like I kind of like did shed a bit of a tear for a movie, because I was like, damn, why would you do this to me? Why would you break my heart like this? I am a good person. I did not deserve this shit. The fuck? I was so heartbroken by that moment. Like, there was just something like when the fact that like, because he is about to do it, you know, and he's like, I'm unaliving because my bae is not here. I can't have my woman, right? He's like, it's over. She's dead, because he didn't get the note. He didn't get the note saying she was fake dead. And then, oh my God. And then it's like, I'm over here like getting upset thinking about it. Like, I'm just like, and then she wakes up, and like, here was the thing that was worse about when she wakes up. When she wakes up, he gets startled and is like, and like, wouldn't it, like, oh my God, y'all, the drama. And like, here's the thing that's most disturbing and upsetting about this particular part of the whole thing. We all knew the end, you know what I mean? Like, we'd all read Romeo and Juliet in English class at one point or another. We knew how it was going to end, but this was devastating. Honestly, one of the most devastating things I'd seen in forever. Howsomever, when you get to this part of the song, where literally none of us know what she's saying here, she's just like, y'all, it just like breaks you up. Breaks you up. I'm getting sad. Oh my God, I'm crying. Oh, I'm starting to get sobby. It was her voice. Oh my God, y'all, like every time I hear this part, I just lose my whole mind. I'm ruining my makeup by crying. I am crying. I was not expecting to get like sobby. Oh, wow. Okay. Let me get my shit together. I'm like completely ruining my makeup because I started sobbing because I didn't realize that this song had such emotional impact on me. Please hold. But isn't this why we do makeup, music, and memories? Because that whole thing, like, always, I didn't realize it was still going to impact me like that, so that's very weird. But there was just something, like, her voice was so, like, you could feel the emotion in her voice. And so, like, to this day, apparently, I still cry to this song. That was a journey, y'all. I am so sorry. I just like started sobbing. Like, I don't know. The emotion in her voice always did me in, you know, or like, where are you? Like, that always, like, it was something about like that, and then like and plus like it was an emotional time in the movie, y'all. Like, just leave me be. I know I'm not a sobber. Here I am crying on the internet like a weirdo. Anyways, please continue to watch the video and don't think that whatever, do think what you will. I cannot control your thoughts, so let's move on. And then we had the Butthole Surfers with I Had a Dream Last Night. That was John Leguizamo, BT Dubs. John Leguizamo is in, I believe, 2 Baz Luhrmann films. He's in this, and he was also in Moulin Rouge, which, like, again, I don't love that movie. Like, I love the music from the movie, but I don't like the movie that much. Like, it's just, I'm sorry, y'all. To all the Moulin Rouge fans out there. No, I'm not apologizing. I don't like it. I don't care. Sorry. Different taste. But he plays like the main opposition, and I cannot remember his name because like I always remember everybody's actor, like, for the most part I remember people's actor names, and I just have a terrible time with character names. I'm just like, okay, so anyway, Leonardo is like, if I tell more stories, like more movie stories, it's literally me going, okay, and so then Leonardo DiCaprio was like hanging out with Claire Danes, and then so anyways, The Butthole Surfers had a song. The Butthole Surfers were a thing. It's so weird to me that there was like a whole ass band called the Butthole Surfers, and we were just like, that's fine. Because I would always think to myself, like, I don't understand how you surf a butthole, because I'm a literal person. So I was like, honestly sitting there just like trying to like imagine the imagery. It wasn't good. While the I Had a Dream song wasn't like a bop or anything, and people weren't like, oh my God, who is this band? What I will say about it, but the reason I wanted to bring this song up is because I feel like with this soundtrack, one of the other things that made it very unique is that it felt like all of the song, like not all, but it really did feel like a large chunk of the songs were literally made with the soundtrack in mind. So to me, when I was looking at it, I was like, yeah, it just, because they would like incorporate Romeo and Juliet, the Montagues. They would really, oops, sorry, you can't see anything. They would really incorporate like the whole like theme of the movie. And I was like, oh, okay. So I feel like that to me is one of the things that like really made this stand out as a soundtrack. And Baz Luhrmann, of all the things, was very good at like musical direction and picking out the music, and actually was really good about picking out the actors, because I feel like, I can't remember if Leonardo DiCaprio was coming off of Basketball Diaries. I cannot remember, but it was a big deal. So I brought up the Butthole Surfers. Obviously, we're doing the whole soundtrack anyway, but I just wanted to make sure that like people do, and like the driving beats that were in these songs, like I feel like there was a good coordinated effort to make this soundtrack cohesive. And then of course we have, I believe it's the Cardigans with Love Fool. This song is still played on the radio today. That was the thing. It's like at the time, you know, you were just young with your beads and your layers and layers of clothing, but when I tell you, like, if you listen to the words, and people like just re-enjoy it. It's like, I feel like it's one of those like fun little bop songs where you're like, but it's a really sad song. The song is actually really sad. It's like it's not as cute as we think it is. But I feel like a lot of music is like that when you're young. You just have like no clue at the time. You're just like, ah. But if you think about it, she's like, pretend you love me. Pretend that you love me. And I pray for you to love me, love me. I can't care about anything but you. Because it's like about someone who left her, you know? And she's like, what I could have done in another way to make you stay. And it's like, what? This is so sad. I didn't know I was going to get depressed this morning, but I am. So it was just one of those moments where it's like that song just really followed them everywhere and they couldn't get away from it. And I feel like they ended up getting mad about it. I could be wrong. Now this, May Quindon, rest in peace, but the Everybody's Free to Feel Good, the song. Brother and sister, together we'll make it through. Iconic. It's just like, because he was so young when this came out, and he had the voice of a fucking angel. Been waiting to be there for you. Literal angel, y'all. Whenever I can. Listen, it's such a short song. Like, this is one of those songs that when it ends, you're like, no, bring it back. Put it back on, bitch. And it just... Everybody's free. Oh, everybody's free. Oh, gosh. This is my favorite part when he says, oh, to feel good. All right, so that was a good time. Radiohead, talk show host. Listen, Radiohead was on this soundtrack. And if y'all don't know how fucking huge Radiohead was at this point in time, I don't know what to tell you. It's just like, it had like that perfect kind of down vibe. And I do believe that when this song plays, it's one of the times we see like Romeo. I feel like it's almost the first time we see Romeo. I could be wrong. But he's like sitting on this like thing on the beach and he's smoking a cigarette, like, because he was a smoker. The memories that this brings back, because I'm thinking about how like iconic it was when this song came on, because it was like, dare, 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 dare. That sound in particular, y'all, come on now. Don't act like I'm the only one who liked that sound. And Radiohead was big, and it was just like such a vibe. This was a vibey ass song. And so like that's it. Like that, the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack was a big deal, especially at that point in time, because you had really not seen enough soundtracks that melded some of like so many of the biggest artists at one time, plus a lot of unknown artists, especially to the US audience, in one place. And like emotionally, it hit, as you saw. Like emotionally, the soundtrack hit you. And I think one of the things that really is one of the things that's fantastic about Baz Luhrmann as a director and as like when he put movies together was the fact that you could literally listen to the soundtrack and see each event of the movie and like have it in your head of like what happened and where. Does that make sense? Like there's so many soundtracks, but like none of them hit quite like this. Because, and I feel like this about this, I also feel like that about Moulin Rouge. Like I've seen the movie, whatever, but I also can tell you like when I'm listening to a song, what was happening in the movie at that time. And I just don't feel like there's enough, I don't feel like anybody's done it since, to be honest. Like there's been good soundtracks, yes. Don't get me wrong. But this soundtrack in particular had a way, and Baz Luhrmann had a way of, even if you didn't have the movie on, you could sit in your car and like you could see the picture, you could see the movie, you could see what was happening. And it was just like an emotional roller coaster, biggest artists at the time, all together on one soundtrack, songs created specifically for it that like were saying, you know, Romeo and Juliet, the Montagues and the Capulets, like all of that, you couldn't, listen, you could not do that. Like, I feel like that was just like a one-time, well, not a one-time because he did it again with Moulin Rouge, but like, I feel like that was just, he had a knack for that. And this soundtrack, to me, is what turned me on to musical soundtracks. Listen, I had the Braveheart soundtrack, y'all. Braveheart, which we're not going to talk about it. But I think it really was a thing that for my generation really woke us up to like the joy of soundtracks. And I feel like that's when they started really like reissuing soundtracks that we hadn't really heard, like because we were, you know, not around when those like Saturday Night Fever, like we weren't around when that came out. And I feel like this like re-energized the world of musical soundtracks. And that is it. That is the video. We went down my memory lane. We like watched me cry. I'm like going to cry again if I think about the song again. You can see my eyes already starting to tear up, which is super awkward. So we're just gonna go ahead. We're gonna sign up. What soundtrack would you like to hear me talk about next? I might do it. The comment that gets the most likes on the soundtrack. You know, I could do that for you. I could do that. I do have a few lined up, but listen, I'm a friend, not a parasocially. Okay, moving on. We're gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm getting weirder than usual. So anyways, thank y'all so much for watching this video. If you will do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button, so then that way the algorithm goddess will continue to push me further down in the algorithm so that I can do whatever the fuck I want to. As usual, huge shout out to my patrons and spooky bays, yeah. All right, you know the drill. Costs $0 to be kind. Don't get stepped on, just be kind. Because if you don't take care of your soul, then I will sure as shit come for yours. Until next time, XOXO. Got a girl. A gift to me. My girl Romeo, I see you twist and turn. Like, what other songs did they have? I can't remember, but I remember that the Butthole Surfers were Butthole Surfers. Do that stupid dance for me. I am gonna film. I'm currently filming. I don't know why I started laughing. I'm using cream bronzer, y'all. Again, from Salt, New York, because yes, bitch, I'm into it. You look so stupid. He just We're doing whatever I'm doing. It's to me forever. I am a pretty piece of flesh. And it fit me like a glove. Look at that, look at that, look at that dance. Pop, pop. Tybalt, that's who he played. He played Tybalt. I don't even know the words. This was dumb.